the sports doctor. He is here today to talk about our Sports Doctor is In segment on Run With It and his segments on Fit Over 40 podcast. Welcome back, Dr. Bob. It's been so long.
I
So we went,
really, we go back years in trading radio shows, so we're looking forward to continuing the Sports Doctors In segments. The whole point, again, is adding the kind of, whether it's running related or fitness and health related comments with everything going on to your audience, including you as still a serious runner. Again, whether it's what's the best shoe for you or what about overuse injuries or these kinds of challenges, 50% of runners, at least at one time or another, are dealing with some sort of a problem. And we want to do the best we can to stay out of trouble, number one, and maybe make it 2, 3 steps quicker, Christine.
yes, absolutely. And now that we're in fall, what do you think? We need, it's actually a good idea to get some waterproof shoes for your
Great idea.
running.
Good point. You got to pay attention to traction when it comes to the changing of the weather. And again, if you're in uneven terrain or whatever, then you got to think of trail shoes also. Running shoes are not made for side to side stability, period. So you don't want to be on a tennis court or a basketball court or running uneven surfaces. But if you have now the new technology with the rain treads, that's a smart move, especially when you're dealing with who knows when the icy conditions start up there in British Columbia.
Yes, yes. And just making sure that you have the proper footwear when it rains or was slippery, but also changing up your terrain too in the fall season. It's beautiful for fall running. But I wanted to talk about pickleball. I read in the news that um, athletes are getting injured because they're not wearing the eyeglass or vision wear because the ball comes so fast. I don't know if you heard
That
about that,
a
Dr. Ball.
racquetball. Funny,
Yes.
yesterday I had one of my famous racquetball champions. His wife was a patient of mine, and we were talking about Randy and the situation. Um, I wrote an article in the Lower Extremity Review, which I do a lot of work with, as you know,
Mhm.
called "Pickleball is Physical." Pay attention. Like 2.5 years ago, no one knew how to spell pickleball. And
Yes.
the point was, you had a lot of people, whether they were runners or not, who figured even in their senior years, they could jump on the pickleball court. And we were paying attention to the lower extremity problems. The foot, you're changing direction, you're running fast, you're not used to it. If you grew up as a tennis player, then you're somewhat used to it. And again, racquetball, but the eye concerns, like you just mentioned, besides the hand and wrist concerns that we're seeing, doctors are seeing in pickleball, is now again being paid as the ball is being hit much harder than when it started,
Mhm.
when people were like flipping it around. Now
Wow.
you got serious players. So you want to pay attention to eye protection. Good point.
Yeah, so there's a lot and we talked about, proper shoes, and then there's clothing going back to running, like wear the proper clothing and a hat. Dr. Bob, I wear a hat all year round for the rain. But what are your thoughts on wearing a
Well,
hat to
got
keep
long
things
hair.
in?
Sometimes again with my
Yes,
hair a little gets a little curly. I want to wear a reverse hat. But there's a
yes.
thing you want to pay your attention, your audience pay big attention to, is to pay attention to their history. Have you had shin splint problems, knee problems, foot ankle problems, back problems in your running career? And if you have, then you want to pay big attention to biomechanics and foot mechanics. You want to
Mm,
include a podiatrist who can talk to you about your foot type and foot mechanics. Gee, you'll benefit really from orthotics. Or, this shoe is much smarter for you. And then again, what I add for all of you athletes, everybody get your pencils out. Here are the 2 exercises we want you to include. One, work your feet and ankles. Strengthen your feet and ankles. I don't care what sport your children play, what their age is, what their level is, or you. Include strengthening. You could use rubber bands are fabulous to work tilt boards. And number two, work on balance. Whether you're a
mm,
senior and you want to pay attention to fall prevention, or you're an athlete, you're coming down for a rebound, you're changing direction. when you're running, if you look at your footprints, one foot almost directly in front of the other. It's different than when you're walking, and there's a difference between your heels. So the biomechanics of how you land, you start running, you're going to double, triple your weight as you hit the ground. So working balance strengthens your core, strengthens all my famous late great sports therapist, Bob Guida, who I met him in the 70s. All these athletes would come to him to try to deal with injuries, prevent injuries, or be two steps quicker. And he would make such a big, he called it instability training. Stand on unstable surfaces. And if you're hooked up to machines, every muscle in your body lights up. He'd say, train the opposites, work the brakes. So if you're a runner and you're working on balance, imagine yourself bouncing on a mini trampoline in different positions.
Oh,
Every stabilizer in your system is on. You want to reduce impact when you hit the ground? You want to include that. So we talk
mm,
a lot about, again, cross training. You and I, we've talked about it a lot in our segments. And again, you have your choice in cross training. You want to swim? You want to bike? You want to include gym exercise? You want to go to yoga? You want to do Pilates? Great. Just make sure you know what you're doing and understand your history. So if you are a runner and you're looking to take a step up, you want to start competing more, you want to add more distance, and runners are the worst. We've got very educated people who want to push the envelope. More is better. So if
yes.
you've got a history of problems, seeing a physical therapist and getting some good home exercises, go over your technique and know what you're doing is a big deal. And I want to mention also, Christine, what I've been writing about very much lately, I call it the new medicine, everybody. The new medicine got 3 points. Number one, eat smarter. I'll leave it up to you to define smarter. There's so much nutrition information out there, supplement information. Eat smarter, pay attention. Number two, like we just talked about, keep moving. I don't care what you do something. You want to be a walker? I'm very involved in the world of childhood type 2 diabetes, Christine, and this explosion of diabetes in the United States and in your country. And we
Mm,
never saw children. They had to rename adult diabetes to include the kids. So we're pushing the importance of including exercise. Keep moving. Number three, new medicine, reduce stress. Include
mhm.
some time for rest and recovery. Has there ever been more stress on all of us than today? And that's before I mention politics. you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
yeah, and the more talented your son or daughter is as an athlete, the more pressure. And this is why I co-authored the book, hashtag Hey Sports Parents, with the great volleyball player, Chucky Tuckman. But right as we speak, there's an epidemic of childhood obesity and overuse injuries in youth sports because of overkill. Too much, too aggressive. So if you are a coach or you have a parent of a talented kid, it's when the sports doctor then when we might deal with people on an individual basis. We might be talking about the or the question and because you run 40 a week.
Yes. And Dr. Bob, tell us a little bit before we leave you're on Fit After 40. So tell us a
Oh, that's
little bit.
including like you've done for years, my sports doctor didn't say 5 minute segment answering questions. Audience, got a big audience, exciting. Again, the whole topic is great. Bit after 40. One of their co-hosts does ultra marathon. I think the last was on some 100 miler. You'd love getting it on the show. You and I both share lots of people in both our audience. You've been on my show 15 times. If people go to thesportsdoctorradio.com, they can find out all sorts of situations. I'm proud of you. Your team knows everything you're doing. You are everywhere. You're amazing, Chris.
Well, Dr.
I'm
Bob, you
impressed.
are amazing. I Anyways, on that note, thank you so much for joining, coming back on the program, and look forward
See you
to
next time.
next month.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. Sure. It's good, Dr. Bob. How did you think of Riverside?